Bum, 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 bum. Welcome back to Bjjbrick Quick. This is Byron. This is the podcast where we talk about a jiu-jitsu topic for just a little while, then we'll send you on your day. Today, we're talking about tough rounds and how to deal with them. And it does happen. Sometimes you're rolling and you're having a good time. Round one happens and it was enjoyable. You learned something. Maybe you even did something. Round two was good. And round three, you question why you even do jiu-jitsu. This sucks. We all have had those rounds. I'm a black belt. I still have those rounds. And I know, and I kind of smile at myself sometimes because every time I'm driving to class, I have a 25, almost 30-minute drive to get to class. I think about how much fun I'm going to have. And every now and then, I'll be rolling and I'll think, why did I think this was going to be fun? This sucks. We have tough rounds. And how do you deal with them? And what I'm not talking about is getting tapped out. I'm not talking about your best move not finding its mark. I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about like your whole system gets shut down, nothing works, you have sweat drip in your eye or mouth or something gross happens, somebody ends up in side control or mount and they are crushing you for longer than minutes, like 5 minutes, a long time. Your escapes are failing. These are tough rounds. How do you deal with them? And I tried to just put it behind me as quickly as possible. And a lot of times I will acknowledge a failure of my game. How did I get here? How did I end up in this position from which I cannot escape? One of my best techniques is side control escapes. And I know that's not a technique that if you were to type on YouTube, top moves or best things or whatever, it's not gonna win. It's not gonna pop up. But getting good at side control enables you to have, or getting good at side control escapes, enables you to have enjoyable rolls consistently. I found that the most frustrating rolls I have is being stuck in side control. My arms are out of position, my legs are out of the game, my head is being pushed the wrong way, and being glued there. Now, there are worse positions, and there are positions that have worse failure rates as far as getting submitted. But if somebody wants to hold you in that position, jiu-jitsu becomes not fun for me. And that's I think the most common one. Because if you go to mount, usually you've gotten there from side control. A lot of times to get to the back, it's from the top position. So I've invested a lot of time in side control escapes, and I do them fast. If you think about it from a competition aspect, if you could escape in a couple of seconds, they never got their points for side control. It didn't happen. If you think about it from a training perspective, it's much better to escape side control in a couple of seconds than in a minute or two. You get to do jiu-jitsu quicker. You get to get back to your game. And if you're working on your guard or half guard or something like that, you get back in those positions and go to work. So in order to avoid tough rounds, be good at escapes. And also I think part of it's going to be mental and setting realistic expectations and having the knowledge that sometimes, I'm a black belt. Sometimes I will have a bad round with a purple belt. They're going to get, maybe they have something different they do with their side control, or maybe they've got to mount, which is fine. And and they're doing something, and my mount escapes. I only have 2 mount escapes, and they're not working. Maybe they're really good at mount. That's not a fun role for me, but there is things to learn there. And I think one of the things that you need to do when you have a bad round that helps you move on is just forgive yourself. Not that big a deal. We're doing jiu-jitsu. It's largely for fun for most people on the mats. If you're making this a huge deal, you might be burning too hot, and you might burn out after a little while. This should be an enjoyable process. So if you've made some mistakes, who cares? Let that go. Forgive yourself on those mistakes. If you're I've been tapped out by a rainbow of color belts as a black belt. Who cares? It's fine. It doesn't happen all the time. It's not really. But if you're a blue belt and you get tapped by a white belt, it hurts. I prevented this for so long as a blue belt. I don't know if I got tapped out by a white belt as a blue belt. It was a big deal to me to not have that happen. But going back, I did an episode on rolling is not fighting. I was fighting those white belts. I would not give them an inch. I think that's common. Nowadays, I guess I would say that the person who's tapped me out most is my wife, and she's a white belt. And that, okay, we're not fighting, we're training, and that's fine. But it shouldn't bother you that much. You should, yes, fight hard. If you're in a submission, fight to get out of it. But if you get caught, that's not the reason to have. That's not a bad round. Move on. And no, the other idea that, yeah, okay, I'm a blue belt, I got tapped by a white belt. They think I suck. Oh, they don't even think I'm a real blue belt anymore. That's not what they think at all. They think, here's what is in their mind. I can't believe I tapped a blue belt. I'm starting to get better at jiu-jitsu. He or she is really good at jiu-jitsu. They're a blue belt. I got him. Unbelievable. I'm so happy right now. That's what's going through their mind. What is not happening is thinking, oh, that person's barely a blue belt, or that's not even a real blue belt because I could tap them. That is not part of the thought process of the white belt that taps the blue. It's not happening. So don't worry about it. Those aren't bad rounds. Bad rounds are just rough. Maybe you get banged up, you get your head, you get caught by a knee or an elbow a couple of times. If you're actually not able to enjoy rolling with a certain person because you're having unenjoyable or rounds that you don't learn anything, consider maybe who you train with. And maybe altering that and maybe saying no thank you to rolling with a certain person now and then to keep the enjoyment of your jiu-jitsu a little bit higher. If you're saying no thank you to somebody because they usually tap you out, you should evaluate that, and that might be a great training partner for you to roll with. So I want to know, how do you guys deal with the rough rounds or the bad rounds, and are you classifying rounds that are bad that are actually helpful? Don't misclassify them. That could be bad for your training. Do you have a topic I should cover? Send it to bjbrick@gmail.com. Make a little list of them. Send them in. I'd like to have that and add it to the queue. If you want to add to this conversation, post on our Facebook page on this episode. I'd love to hear your comments. And Bjjbrick is Patreon supported. The full episodes are. These little quick episodes, they're just for fun here. Till next time, stay sweaty, my friends.